Byron Public Schools in Byron, Minnesota. And today we are going to talk to Kelly from Texas about her makerspace. But let's first go around and we'll share who's in the room here with me. And then if you want to formally introduce yourself, Kelly, you can do that too. So
I'm Corey. I'm the innovations teacher at Byron Elementary School.
I'm Lisa Ress, and I'm the media center paraprofessional.
I'm Chanel Fody, and I'm the elementary technology specialist.
Okay, all right.
And then go ahead, Kelly.
Hey, I'm Kelly Garner, and I'm from the Austin, Texas area in the Dripping Springs ISD school district, and I'm currently teaching 3rd and 4th grade gifted and talented.
Great. And so I guess, you know, we really want to take a look at your space. I don't know if you're planning on taking your laptop or whatever device you have, and then maybe just talk a little bit about it, because we've did some initial looking at other people and really talk about the elementary side of the makerspace that you have.
Okay, great. And I'm going to show you too, and I actually have you on a rolling cart, so that way I didn't have to carry and bounce you around with my computer. So I have a rolling cart. I'm going to kind of scoot it back and show you the space I have in the classroom that we have, and then eventually I'm going to roll you down to the center
nice.
for learning and innovation, and then show you that space also. So I'm going to kind of scoot this back and show you. This is our makerspace in the classroom. We have a bulletin board set up over here. Nothing on the board yet. It's a work in progress, but you can see that we have a 3D printer. Sitting here. I actually wrote a grant last year, and we have a 3D printer in the classroom. And the kids actually today have been working on creating ornaments in Tinkercad and printing out ornaments today. So we actually have a good little example right here. I don't know if you can see. It says Xmas on it, but it's a little ornament that they're going to get to take home and hang on the tree. So they got to create and design. And not all the designs worked, and that's the best part about Makerspace is, you know, sometimes we're going to fail and we have to redesign. And so that's been the fantastic part of the makerspace. Over here against the wall, you can see we just have a shelf with containers. And if you need me to move or do anything, you have to tell me. So
yeah, I think the lighting, because of the light in the back, it's making it.
So over here, we just got containers, and we have a lot of donations that we've gotten. We're shutting the blinds right now, so you can kind of see.
Okay,
oh, perfect.
cool.
So we just have things set up, and so whatever we think we need, sometimes we do a shout out to parents or to community members and just say, hey, if you have popsicle sticks, hey, if you have stuff. I'm going to kind of scroll. Let me see. I'm on the thing. You can see we just have a bunch of stuff. So it's not always pretty, and it's not always nice and neat. I always like to say it's organized chaos, but the kids love it because they can come over here and just create. We actually went to Home Depot at the beginning of the school year and talked with them about us starting makerspaces in all 3 of the GT rooms on all 3 elementary school campuses. And they were able to donate quite a bit to us.
Nice.
So we got lots of donations from Home Depot. And lots of times community businesses would love to do that. They just don't know what they can do or what you need. And I think sometimes reaching out to people is really a key here. We have a big container of wood. And so today we were talking about how to even redesign some furniture in the classroom and create our own furniture. So that's one of the best part about makerspaces. They can try things that they might have ideas about. So any question? I mean, and if y'all have questions, y'all ask as we go.
Is this in the gifted talented room?
Right now, she's going to show us 2. So she's showing us there.
I just wanted to know what room we're looking at.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Do all kids, though, then have access to the makerspace, or just your gifted and talented students?
That's a great question. In this classroom, we just service the gifted and talented students in this classroom. I actually, though, have a program after school called Super Girls Inc., which is working with girls in STEM program, and so they come in here also. So we try to think about these ways to utilize it besides just the gifted and talented program. But the 3D printer, we have been working across the school, and if teachers want to create and make, like we have a PBL going on in our 3rd grade classes right now, that they're redesigning the playground. So some of the playground equipment will get to be 3D printed. And so everyone's allowed to use it. We just are trying to teach how to use it.
Well, and just to recap, like
Yes.
right now, we're going to see 2 rooms today. Right
Absolutely.
now, we're seeing the makerspace classroom.
Yes.
But then you're going to take us to the makerspace, which is
Yes.
your learning and innovation center.
Correct, which also has a 3D printer and space. So I'm actually going to start reeling down that way. But if you have questions, I mean, please feel free. Like, how did you think of that? What is that? Or how did you start that? That would be great.
Kind of what is some of your other stuff? So you said popsicle sticks.
Yes. Let me just turn around here. In here, I have things like paints, string, straws, chopsticks from Chinese food places, beads. Lots of people are getting rid of their scrapbooking stuff now. So I have a whole shelf behind me that is full of card making, just scrapbooking materials. Again, lots of people have things to donate that are just not sure where to send them or how we could use them. So I just always say, hey, ask me, I'll figure out a place to put it. We keep cardboard stuff, I mean, plastics. And actually, last week, we had a class that made like shrinky dinks with the number 6 recycled materials. So repurposing things, trying to figure out ways to use it. But any scraps, we take it. I mean, any type of recycled things, we'll take it and put it in our makerspace. I'm going to wheel us down to the center so we can go there. Hey, we're going to go to the center. So don't forget to grab the computers.
Yeah, I just got the tail end of it. Yeah, that's cool.
Well, this is awesome. And again, you know, I just have to mention the power of the PLN and, you know, the opportunities to connect and just learn from each other. So this has been great.
Say, Kelly, how big is your school? How many students?
50 to 900 students. And we're pre-K through 5th.
That's what your building is pre-K through 5?
It is. It is. And it looks like it's kind of noisy and there's people in here, so you're going to get to see. So when we walked in, I'm going to kind of just spin around. You can see people working. Like when you walk in here, we have kinetic sand. So we have some kinetic sand happening here.
I'm just going downstairs.
I'm going to go hanging out. Okay, so over here on the wall, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, it kind of got a little choppy, but I think we're okay now.
Okay, and if I get too loud or I'm getting crazy because I'm not sure what I'm doing with Google Hangout, you tell me to myself. Okay. Over on this wall is the we have dry erase wall, and lots of times they put questions up there where they'll post questions and kids can come just write and answer the question. We have a whole maker space where they can create things back here against this wall, and I'll roll us over there too. I'm doing a Google Hangout with people from Minnesota.
Oh wow, I like that wall.
Okay. Some of the same materials that were in the other room. And so we have just random things that they can craft with and they can make with. So I like this shelf a lot. On the other side, and I'll show you in a minute because there's kids, I'll get them to kind of move for a second, is the creations side, like the still working, so they can save it. So. Okay, so you can see on this side that it says I'm still working, so the kids can put their work right up here. Okay, you'll have to move back that way, thanks. Okay, so you can see if they're still working, they're just going to put it up there. Thank you. Okay, so here's a closer view of what we have over here.
Can I ask how you use the TV that's in the room?
Well, I'm not sure how they're using it this year, but I know last year we had a bigger space over here where kids sat if they wanted to watch something. And last year, like I hosted the Supergirls Inc. in here. So if we were watching like a kid president video or something, we just projected it up there. I can't say per se I know how they use it right now. And actually we have kind of like changing of the guards. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
So we have a new fly girl who just got hired. So we're actually in transition. So there's some changes that I'll tell you about also. When I wheel you over, we have some changes that are going to take place.
Okay.
So this is the place where they make. Over here we have some computers here. So we have a computer cart. And then we have this space, dash and dot. and Dash and Dot challenge cards. So you can see that they come in and it's not just there to play with, but there's some challenges that they can try to do with. So
That's great.
dash across an area. And we have some Spiros and Ollies also. Are y'all familiar with those?
I haven't heard of Ollie's.
Okay, Ollies are, I think, made by Spiro, but they're the cylinder looking, it looks like a can. And so you can use Spiros and Ollies with the Tickle app to code. So, it's fun for the little kids just to drive them. But if you want to challenge them, you can use some apps to code with. That's also here with Dash and Dot. You can see kids are working here on the computers. And then over here we have some iPad areas. And I'm going to kind of go around these tables to show you the Lego wall.
Awesome.
The kids are fascinating that I'm talking to you on a rolling cart. Okay. Okay, and so here we have the Lego wall. And so again, this was also donated by parents. We have, thank you for Lego donations. And so this is an area they can come and create. There's books here with Legos. That's our new fly girl. That's our new fly girl. So here she is. This is our new fly girl that we have on campus.
Hi there.
I told them that you're the new fly girl.
Yes.
And they love that. They love that name.
Yeah. So what school is this, or is this Google?
This is the Google Hangout, and they're from Minnesota. So, okay, and I'm going to take them to this room. I don't even know what we call this room.
This is the collaboration corner.
Yeah.
But I'm changing it to be a mini video studio for students.
Okay. So I didn't know if you could hear her. This is going to wind up
Green
being,
screen room?
say it again.
A green screen room, kind of a.
Yes, yes.
Production studio.
So the idea initially was a way for small groups to have a quiet place because we could shut the door and they could, work on the whiteboard. But it's used like 90% of the time as just a student studio. So we're gonna just go with that. And it still has a desk because it's doubled as like a quiet testing environment sometimes. So there's a desk and chairs and that can stay, but everything else is gonna we're gonna paint one wall green for a green screen, and then it'll just be very simple.
Excellent.
Okay. I'm gonna show you a couple more things that we have over here. I mean, and if I turn it this way, you can see we still have books. I mean, it's still utilized as reading and a library. And
Kelly, can I ask a question?
yeah, go ahead, please.
So is this space a class that kids come to, or is it just open throughout the day?
This is open throughout the day. It looks like your library. It just has some added stuff to it, and it's open. And the kids just come. Sometimes they come as a class. Sometimes they come they have a pass that they can come down to the CLNI, and they say, like, sometimes it just checks, like, can stay 10 minutes. And then they tell them when they come in, set the timer. And so in 10 minutes, you can go back. They'll know. So they have timers for them to set for themselves also.
There is a supervisor in there, though. There's somebody there.
Say it again.
There is a supervisor in the space.
Yes, yes. The center has the fly girl, and then she has an assistant. And the assistant is either here or the fly.
Okay.
So,
Can you remind us what the Fly Girl stands for?
Yeah, facilitator of learning and innovation. So she's the facilitator of learning and innovation. Yeah. So we have this was built for us last year.
We're talking about fly boys now.
Oh, that's right. They can be the fly guy.
Fly guy.
The fly guy. I like the fly guy. That sounds cool. Okay, so you can see these guys over here are building. We had a parent that built, this is a magnet wall, and it's rolling so they can move. And so they have, like, it looks like gutter material it's magnet, and they just kind of create. So that's what they're doing here. So that's it for now, but what's going to happen eventually is this whole space is going to be filled with more makerspace materials. We have an old computer room back over here that we're going to turn into the reading room. So the kids that are technically coming in to read and get books will get to go over to the reading room. And in the reading room, they're going to set up a stage so they can also do like readers theater, more film production if they want to. But it's a quieter room and not so much, because you can hear this is a very busy and happening. But we have a significant amount of people in here right now. I'm not sure. It looks like a class, but I'm not sure. I'm not really sure. This could be standard.
Does the teacher typically come down with the class or not?
Say it again.
Does the teacher typically come down with the class?
Yes, if it's to check out books, everyone still has their time that they can come and check out books. So the teacher does come with them there during that time. You could come down and with your class if you wanted to bring them down to experience the makerspace too. But lots of times it's the kids just come down with a note that says, I'm going to go back in 10 or 15 minutes.
And so, yeah, so there is some independence from the students. And so do you have like kindergartners coming down by themselves too?
I'm pretty sure we do.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah. I could ask that, but I'm pretty sure they do come down. I mean, I'm sure if the teacher lets them. So I'm gonna show Ollie. Hey, Lexi, will you grab the Ollie? Right now, they're driving Ollies around the floor right now. So I'm gonna show that. Show them what an Ollie is. That's the Ollie right there.
Cool.
So she's just using the driving app, which I think that's fine and that's cool. But I challenge my kids and say, okay, well, you have to code it. I mean, let's make a challenge. Start from point A to start, get to B. How are you going to get there? What do you, using coding? So, which is fun. You'll see a whole class is coming in right now as we speak. So we're pretty busy, I guess, in here. So
That's good.
yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome. So
I have a couple of questions.
yes, I'm going to move to where it's quieter.
Okay.
Okay. But if you want to see something else, y'all tell me. But I can't hear. Hold on. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Hi, how are you? Okay, I'm going to go in this room because this is the quiet room. Woo, all right. Okay.
Okay. So one of the questions, how long have you had your makerspace?
We changed this space to a makerspace, I want to say 2 years ago. Might have been 3, but 2 to 3 years. So it's a work in progress.
Okay, and then my other question is, have teachers gotten to the point where they're starting to integrate some of the makerspace things into their curriculum?
Yes. Again, like I was talking about, we actually just went through also a PBL training this summer. So we're trying to integrate lots of different dynamics in the classroom. And so one of the PBLs, again, was that playground design. And so they're going to be creating playground equipment. Another PBL a group has done is they were creating miniature golf courses. And so they had to make that design using, of course, math. And so they created their putters on the 3D printer. So it's sometimes it's just lack of, they're not sure what they could 3D print. And so we're trying to give them ideas like, well, what are you working on? Oh, you can always 3D print that. So
can I ask the age of the kids that are printing 3D?
Well, my group today are 3rd graders. I have a 2nd grade group working on, I think they were working on creating a monster. Like there was some kind of monster story PBL they were doing, creating the best monster. So they're going to 3D print a monster on Tinkercad. And then the putters were for a 5th grade group.
You said that was for your G&T kids that come to you, they create those things?
Well, no, the other ones I'm talking about right now are just like classrooms. Like the playground is just 3rd grade in general. Some teachers are doing that PBL. The putters is a 5th grade group, GT group right now, but the monster group is just 2nd graders. Okay. So I've only had the 3D printer this year, so I myself am learning, and so trying to teach teachers or try to show them, oh, we could 3D print that. I mean, sometimes you don't know until you keep trying it, and then you figure out great ways to use it.
Prior to your maker movement,
yes, sir.
Was your media center a class that kids actually went to? Like they would go to gym, they would go to music, they would go to media, or was it never part of that?
And it's still never. It's not part of it. Excuse me. it's not part of it now. They don't come as a special
Right.
at all to this area. We've talked about that before because we're only growing, and that would take some of that load off of the other 3 special areas, the art, music, PE. I think it's a fantastic idea. It just hasn't been integrated in yet or implemented. So
Typically, how many students a day, have you done any collection on how many students a day your center actually receives?
I do not know. I can ask them here in a second. But, I mean, you can see just the time that I've rolled you in here, I'm certain there's well over 100 kids that have come in and out. I mean, because there were there were 2 classes when we came in. One was leaving, one looked like they just got here, and another one just came. I mean, that right there's already 60. I brought mine down just now, and then there's other kids in here that are just working because they were sent down. So I'm not sure if the data has been done, but I mean, it is heavily used, you can see. And I think the more that we get in here, the more it's going to just be utilized, which is great. But I'm sorry.
Did the teachers embrace it right away, or did you have to encourage some teachers? Or how did that, as you used it, how did you get people to use it more? Yeah.
I think in the beginning, it almost had, it was more of a tool where you can say, you know what, when your kids are done, send them down here. I mean, because one, that they just need to get excited, and then when you start showing them what they can do when they get down here, that's when you see teachers go, oh, aha, okay, I can see how to use this. And so in the beginning, it wasn't like everyone just went, oh, absolutely, I'm embracing it. I mean, we know that doesn't work because change is sometimes hard. But if we're not changing, we're not growing. So we have to do that. I mean, we just have to somehow, if that's what makes it easier, just to send down the kids when they're done at first. But now you can see they're like, okay, go down the CLNI, see if you can get this and bring it back. Or why don't you go down there and try to make that and come back with that idea. And so I feel like now you can see where people are utilizing it in a much more purposeful way. Whereas in the beginning, it might have been more fun, let me try this out. But I think that's important. I mean, that's part of the growth.
Right.
Did you do any education though, like with your staff about what is Maker and what is the why or the purpose behind what you're trying to do? Did you do
If you ask me, no, we didn't do enough. But we did. I think that's important. I mean, if we don't know the why, then how can we do it? So I think that is key. We did do some training where the materials that we had in here, we did like a little setup station-wise where you can come through as a teacher and try it out. And I think that was like prior to the school year starting, the year that we opened everything. So probably 2 years ago.
Kids, do you do a lot of modeling and practice with them? Do they know the expectations right away, or how does that all work?
Probably trial and error. I think some teachers are really good about coming down and explaining, this is the makerspace, this is the center, this is expectation, and some still aren't sure themselves. But again, I think that goes back to, what is the space for and why? And I think that just comes with training and experience. I think it's just changing from what we have been doing to what we need to be doing.
Any other questions?
Yes, in addition to trial and error with kids, explaining the why with staff, do you have any other words of wisdom or advice as we start possibly looking at this also?
Yes, I think we need to be upfront and tell them it's going to feel overwhelming. It will. Those of us that have never, teachers that have never experienced anything like this, when we tell them the 50 things that, you saw around the room, that could be an overwhelming experience in itself. If you just start with the small and tell them to take away one thing, what's one thing you can, implement this semester, this year, and I think then you start getting a growth pattern opposed to we're going to do it all and it's going to be this big, overwhelming, new experience. I think it's about getting people excited about it. In training. You have to have training and people that are going to come in and share with you, what is this for? What is the purpose in this? Because if we don't really understand the purpose, it's hard to change to that. And I think a lot of things, and I'm not sure about your culture and your school, but like when teachers are focused and they know they have to put grades in, it's hard to then turn around and say, how do I grade that? And so sometimes it's just tweaking the way of grading doesn't mean you have a worksheet and you grade the 10 questions and that's your grade. It might be looking at your experience and what did you create and what was your thought process. Did you write a plan? Did you make a plan? And so we just have to change to that innovation of, you know, you want kids to write? Well, we have to ask ourselves, do they need to write a narrative paper or a blog, and what's going to be more essential to them? And until we start telling people what is important to them and ask the kids, then it's hard. And so we just have to make that transition. And I think, again, it's going to be bringing people in or doing some training. I mean, training's it.
I really love that. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, I really love the metacognition, right? So if you have a plan and it didn't go so well, you know, that thinking about your learning, kind of a thinking about your thinking and so on and so forth. So I really like that. There was a question.
And teachers have to be comfortable that they're going to fail, and it's okay, and administration's okay with that. We have to be risk takers also, and that as uncomfortable it is that we fail, it's really a growth experience, and they have to know that's okay to do. It's all right.
I do have one question, another question. So do your kids become like fly kids so that they can kind of help support and train other people? Have you gone down that path of kids teaching other kids how to do stuff?
Yes, and actually in my classroom, they're called techsperts. And so they're techspert in something that they're good at. And so actually when I left a while ago and I was talking to you in the beginning, we'd already established who were the techsperts in our Tinkercad for the day because they had already accomplished that. And so they'd run around and help. So who could they ask? So sometimes you just have to figure out who are the techsperts in your class at the moment. And that could be a gamut of, you know, a group of kids that come in and out of classrooms. And I always tell teachers too, if you don't know, ask your kids because they probably do. And if not, they'll figure it out because they're not afraid to figure it out. And so that's definitely what don't be afraid to get your kids to help you out with things. Because I don't know it all by any means. And sometimes I know things I don't, and I appreciate that very much. So.
I would definitely agree with that. Any other questions?
No, this was beneficial. Thank you.
I really appreciate seeing both spaces, the classroom makerspace and then your big space. So what I'm going to do now is, first of all, thank you very much for presenting. And then I'll stop the broadcast, and then if we want to chat a little bit more after the broadcast, we can do that. Okay?
Yeah.